This is ILTV on the hour, bringing the biggest stories from Israel and the Middle East in just 5 minutes. I'm Josh Bedrosian, and today is day 695 of the war in Gaza. Let's get into all the top headlines at this hour. Israel is now confirming the IDF has eliminated notorious Hamas spokesman Abu Obeida in an Israeli airstrike on Gaza City after attempting a number of times during the war. The IDF is now saying the operation was directed from the Situation Room and was made possible from prior intelligence. They say he was one of the last remaining senior terrorists of Hamas's military wing from before October 7th. They also say throughout the war, he and his aides were being and part of the release of the psychological terror videos, which show kidnapped Israeli hostages and Israeli soldiers. Some security sources have been quoted as saying that Obeida, the masked voice of the terrorists, was a symbol of their resistance, and that is now dead. Prime Minister Netanyahu said the following at a cabinet meeting today, declining to comment. Take a listen.
במבצע משותף נוסף, השב"כ וצה"ל תקפו את דובר החמאס, דובר ארגון הרשע הרצחני, אבו עוביידה. עכשיו, אנחנו עדיין לא יודעים את התוצאה הסופית, אני מקווה שהוא כבר לא איתנו, אבל אני שם לב שאין מי שידברר את השאלה הזאת בצד של החמאס. אז שעות וימים בוודאי יגידו את מה שהם יגידו.
Now, Abu Obeida's elimination comes at the same time Hamas is finally confirming the death of its former leader Mohammed Sinwar after he was killed in an Israeli airstrike back in May. The IDF had said long ago that he was in fact killed, but the terror group had refused to acknowledge his death until now. Channel 12 in Israel is reporting Israel also killed one of the terrorists who held former hostage Emily Damari captive in Gaza. The British-Israeli citizen was one of the first hostages released back in January under the then hostage and ceasefire agreement. Another one of her captors was reportedly killed back in July, who held Damari in his home. The IDF is announcing that the second body recovered in Gaza during a special rescue operation carried out last Friday was, in fact, 28-year-old Idan Shivi, who was murdered by Hamas terrorists while working as a photographer at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th. The IDF had earlier confirmed on Friday the recovery of the body of 55-year-old Ilan Weiss, and that during the same operation, they had located remains linked to another deceased hostage. Now, Netanyahu said he spoke with both of these families and hailed Shivi as, quote, a man of great courage and heart for managing to evacuate and save lives of several concert goers at the Nova Festival before he was killed with his body dragged into Gaza. Channel 12 in Israel is also reporting Israeli defense chiefs that the current security cabinet that's underway right now will present why ministers should accept the current proposal for a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza, rather than the Gaza City planned takeover. The report says those urging for the deal to be taken includes IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir, Mossad Director David Barnea, and the National Security Advisor Tzachi Hanegbi. Officials in Yemen also have now confirmed that the Houthi Prime Minister and perhaps most of his cabinet were killed in Thursday's airstrikes by Israel. Israeli intelligence managed to pinpoint the location of the Houthi premier and his ministers as they watched a televised speech by their leader, Abdul Malik al-Houthi. An IDF assessment believes the prime minister and 12 other ministers were killed in this strike, but that the Houthi defense minister and the chief of staff may have actually survived it. According to reports from Yemen, the Israeli Air Force struck about 10 homes and other locations where senior Houthi officials were gathered in Sana'a. The strikes came after the IDF shot down 2 drones launched by the Houthis targeting Israel last week, and the launch of a ballistic missile with a cluster warhead, the first time used earlier in the week. That's a wrap here on ILTV on the hour. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure to stay with us for updates throughout the day.